dance, taking a chance.
Olivia Cuido is an official skincare partner of Miss USA.
Hello everyone, my name is Lida Diku, founder of Touching Hands Care Group. I am a caregiver myself before putting up our own caregiving agency. We've been in the caregiving business since 2014. But my husband and I decided to put up Touching Hands Care Group 2018 to compete more and help more seniors and caregivers. We manage our business with our hearts. This makes us set apart with other agency. And we are sharing our blessings by giving commission to all referrals we get. And listen to this, commission is not only one time. As long as the patient is under our care, commission continued. So please help us spread the good news so we can help more, touch more, care, and share.
Hello!
Meow! Kuya naman.
Hello! Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Magandang lalaki po ako sa inyong lahat. At kay Ate Nick, we miss you. We're back. The Three Fantastica. iDREAM. Yan.
Yay!
Good evening sa inyo.
Oo, Kuya Arvin, ang haba ng bakasyon.
Oo nga, busy sa trabaho.
Trabaho. Nagpapayaman. Tingnan mo naman, naman.
Hi, Ate Miki.
Kumusta na kayong lahat?
Ma-beauty. Ito,
Naks.
Wow. Ako
lotion kayo.
ako lalo. Ang dami kong
Naku
kinakain.
naman, Ate Miki kasi puro promotion ng pagkain lahat eh. 98% ng posting puro chibugan sa SoCal eh.
Oo nga eh. Pero bago lahat, if you're watching live, #live, or if you're watching the replay, #replay. Bago kang makalimutan, di ba?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Write in the comments, guys.
yeah, ang dami kong kinakain.
Naku naman.
May exercise yan, ganito raw, di ba?
Oo, ganun.
Para mawala yung seconds.
Ang ganda ng timer mo. Usok ka ng konti to your left, kuya. Nabablock yung oras eh. 14 days, 3 hours, 57 minutes.
Ayan ba yung counter?
Yes.
Christmas.
Yes, malapit na.
Malapit na. 2 weeks to go na lang.
Don't forget to swipe your credit cards.
Ninang Nick, mamamat ko po ako.
Kay Ninong J ka magsabi.
Ninong Charles. Si Ninong Charles. Ninong! Thank you.
Oo. Congrats sa number 4, di ba? Ano siya? Number...
Kita mo naman, nasa top
4.
5, ano?
4, yeah.
Yan ang ninong ko.
Ninong ng bayan.
Ano nyo ngayon na since lockdown na ulit, di ba?
Since March pa ako lockdown eh. Sanay na ako ma-lockdown.
Pero meron tayong mga panauhin ngayong gabi. Like we have guests tonight. Right? We have our SoCal Pinoys Restaurant Owners na, magkukwento sa atin kung anong pinagdadaanan nila ngayong lockdown. Right, Kuya Ed?
Pinagdadaanan, ha?
Pinagdadaanan. Tagalog kasi, di ba, everyday kasi lagi akong nag-English everyday, kaya puro Tagalog naman tayo ngayon.
Taglish, makakasama Tagalog ka. Ha?
Pagkasama ko si Kuya Ed, napapatagalog talaga ako eh.
Dapat lang. Pilipino tayo eh, di ba? Sabi nga ni Jose Rizal eh, di ba? Si Jose Rizal mga nagsabi nun, ang hindi marunong. Ayun, ano mo yun? Tat.
Pero di ba, yung mahilig ba kayo sa kamayan?
Ay, kamayan, naku, the best. Ha?
Yung nakataas pa yung
ganun eh.
Oo, meron akong kilala na merong kamayan.
Wow, sarap yun.
Yeah, meron akong kilala na mahilig sa kamayan. Maraming mga kamayan tray, mga ganyan.
Tapos doon sa dako na saging, ano?
Yeah.
Kailangan meron dito nun.
Pero bago lahat, pasalamatan muna natin yung mga sponsor natin bago natin makalimutan. Kasi po, marami po kaming, we have a lot of guests tonight, so we can't really show the logos because it doesn't fit on the screen. But so to Olivia Quito Co. of Olivia Quito Skincare, she's the official skincare line of Miss Universe, Miss USA, and Miss Teen USA. And also we have an interview. I am going to be interviewing her tomorrow at 8 o'clock with that's Chat with Nick. That's Olivia Quito Co. And we have Amiel Noble of Noble Creations. He makes the best barong Tagalogs here in SoCal. And Miss Lida Deku of Touching Hands Care Group. We have Mike R. Agbayani. Thank you so much from Car Fashion Detailing. He has 2 kinds of car detailing services. And Charles Lawrence Chamorro, our founder, SoCal Pinoys of Keller Williams Realty, and we have Manny Uson Ramos of SMDC, and Michael Dinulos, who's also a restaurant owner, but he's too shy to come on the show, so he's sponsoring us so that we can be here. He's has a restaurant called Batchoyan Ilonggo Restaurant in Camarillo, and Cecil Wong Chang. This Ninang Cecil. Ninang
Ninang
Yo.
Cecil.
Ng lahat.
Ninang
From
Cecil.
CMC Legacy Group, they offer accounting services, tax services, and other business consulting services. And we also have the HiFi Hedgehogs Succulents and Unique
Yun.
Shop. Yeah. Tawagin na ba natin yung guest natin na merong kamayan para naman
Dapat may sample.
makatikim tayo, makasample.
May sample tsaka
Sample
demonstration
na
kung paano.
kamayan. Sige, tawagin na natin siya.
Okay, yan.
Hello. Hi, Kuya Dan.
Kuya na, ninong pa.
Ninong Dan.
Belen.
Ninong natin sa kamayan yan. Also, Danielle Belen is the owner of Bamboo Bistro in Panorama City. How are you doing?
Yan, mga taga-Bali dyan, ha? Lahat, everywhere, from north, kahit mga taga-OC, malapit lang yan.
Oo, narinig ko nga yung ng kakamay. Ano ba?
Yun, kamayan. Bigyan nyo kami ng sample para
Mahilig
sa
daw
kamayan.
magkamay.
Oo.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Dan?
Yeah, actually, I've been in the business for about 2008. 12 years na. Ng Bamboo Bistro, I started in West Covina. Then expanded here, San Fernando Valley. So, ngayon, isa na lang to. Dati dalawa. I actually sold the place in West Covina. Ngayon, Bar Azul na yun. So, isa na lang ang
Bar Azul.
And, thankfully, timing din eh. I don't think I can survive having 2 stores with this pandemic.
Right.
It's tough. So, kaya siguro blessing na rin sa akin yun. Somehow, isa na lang at mas madaling i-handle. Not, I'm saying not madali, but you know, with what's going on now, medyo bigat. So just laban lang.
Yep. Hold on tight.
Kaya naman.
Yeah.
Nakaka-survive with yung mga friends, family, and followers.
So meron pa tayong ibang mga guests na, restaurant owners too. And just like Kuya Dan, si Karla Purificacion.
Yun.
Purificacion Yuasensi. She's the owner of Kape Republik. And so let's call her in.
Hi everyone.
Wow.
Sorry, my name is super long. Super Filipino. That's not including my middle names.
So what is your middle name?
Karla Yasmin Flores Purificacion, and now my married name Yuasensi. Too long.
Long. Karla na nga lang, Karla.
Karla na lang. Yeah.
Miss K. How about Miss K?
Miss K. Since we have a Miss O, we have a
Karla
Miss
na lang.
K.
Karla.
So can you tell us a little bit something about yourself and how you started Kape Republik, and tell us where Kape Republik is located?
Sure. I am actually born in Bahrain, the Middle East. I grew up kind of everywhere because I'm the daughter of an expat. So I actually didn't grow up here. And yeah, I was actually in business and fashion before opening the coffee shop. And Kape Republik is not just a coffee shop anymore. We expanded to like a full-time bakery. And we've been around for 5 years na rin. So I speak Tagalog. It's a little broken, but I can fully understand. I went to school in the Philippines for 3 years. I'm from Makati, but I went to school in Las Piñas, Southville International School. And then my dad's from Davao, also like my husband is. So kind of well-rounded here.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. My shop, Cerritos, Kape Republik is in Cerritos.
Oh. Okay.
Cerritos.
Yes.
Yeah, it's super Pinoy over there. Kasi, like, katabi niya yung Seafood City, right?
Yeah. Right
Oh.
next to Seafood City, right next to LBC. You need to
Okay.
Adelle, and then
Pioneer, right? Pioneer or no? Pioneer.
and Artesia and Norwalk, right off the 91.
Norwalk.
605 to South Street. right?
Yes. A mile down from there, yeah.
That's all I remember. Like every time I hear Cerritos, I'm like 605 to South Street, Cerritos Auto Square.
Oh,
605 and
yeah,
South.
like
Right?
the mountain.
Commercial yun, di ba?
So it's near there, right?
Yes.
And so speaking of so Karla is from all over. She's been, all around the world. We have someone with us who's actually making food or cooking food, like from a far away land, like from paradise,
Mm.
Yeah, and so I'm really curious as far as like how she got into this business and how she ended up cooking Hawaiian food,
Wow.
right? So so we have
Mahalo.
mahalo. We have Miss
Mahalo.
Adelle Gutierrez from
Woo.
Poke and More. Let's see. Let's bring in. Hi, Miss Adele.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Nice to
Adele.
meet you here.
So can you tell us how you started and why you ended up with Poke and More and where you're located?
Well, restaurant business is really different from my field. Kasi I used to work in the bank for 17 years. Then when I got here, I cannot work in the bank because wala pa akong character background, reference. So it's hard for me to find a job. And there's one thing na ang napasukan ko, restaurant. Then, after restaurant, since it's different from my field, nag-start ako mag-study about restaurant. So, naging work ko is to set up a restaurant business. So, every time na mayroong gusto mag-put up ng business, restaurant ang gusto nila, ako nagsiset up. I-open ko yun, i-close ko yun if you want. Now, one of my clients, she grew up in Hawaii. She wants to put up a poke business. So, sinet up ko yun. And then later on, she called me na she wants to sell the business she had in Long Beach. So, at first, 3 times, hesitant ako. Sabi ko, Ma'am, I don't have that money. No, you don't need to, sabi niya ganun. So, lakasan ng loob. And then from there, iniisip ko na I need something different from her. Kasi ayoko ng copycat. I want to be original. So from there, nag-start ako mag-research, mag-explore. I never been in Hawaii. I never been in Hawaii. So research, then so far so good naman. Yeah, my poke place is located at 2292 is Carson Street, Long Beach. Hope to see you there, guys.
So in our show today, like what Adele was saying, like she tried like different kinds of things and she was actually in a different field. We also have someone who's actually who started in a completely different field than being a restaurant owner. And she was actually a nurse. So she's the owner of Maxi Mango. We have Miki Arceo-Velasquez. And yes, so she has a really interesting story as well because she started out in London, right? Hi, Miki.
Yep.
Hi. London.
Hi. So can you tell us something about yourself and where you started and how you got into the restaurant business?
So my husband and I were nurses in London before we decided to move back home to the Philippines where we started a business. And the business, Maxi Mango took off and we opened a branch in Singapore and we opened a branch in the United States. That's what brought us here.
And how did you come up with the idea of Maxi Mango?
Well, we're originally from Davao, so in Davao, mangoes are everywhere, and it's very, it was the most cost-effective ingredient to use. So we decided to just try using only mango, and it worked.
And so can you tell us something about your experience as far as what was the cathartic moment that made you decide that you wanted to go into owning Maxi Mango?
Well, what made us go into business, or what made us go into Maxi Mango in the first place, was because we had a son that was born in London, and we didn't really like the environment for him. So we decided to go back home so we could raise him in the Philippines, and we ended up raising him in the United States instead.
And and so we also have someone, like what Miki was saying. We have someone who was actually born here in the U.S. and he was born here in Los Angeles, here in historic Filipino town, and he has his own restaurant called HiFi Kitchen, right here in historic Filipino town. So Justin Foronda, is the owner of HiFi Kitchen right here in historic Filipino town, and he's bringing awareness to the area of historic Filipino town. Hi, Justin. How are you doing?
What's up?
Oh, Justin, millennial to. Okay, mga kaedad ko to.
Justin.
What's going on?
Yeah, man. This is my age group right here. Young business owner.
It's just a genes. I'm not that young. It's just
the Asian genes.
It's the Filipino in me.
So can you tell us something about yourself and how you ended up opening a restaurant? Like Miki, you're a nurse also. So can you tell us your transition, your if there's any cathartic moment or your decision-making process as far as coming from the nursing field and going into the restaurant industry?
Yeah. So as you said, I was a registered nurse, so I still am. But I've always been like a creative, like kid. Like I've always just like kind of like wanted to. I'm just always like doing something. And so I started off like playing music, and I was a professional breakdancer for a while, and I was example, yeah, no. Yeah, to play drums, guitar, and then cooking was always just kind of like just something that like I was interested in, but never like really did so much. But when I was practicing as a nurse, probably like 5 years in, I got to a point where I was like, all right, well, I'm kind of like at the highest that I can go in my department. And if, the next step would either be more school or, transfer to a different department. And I was just kind of feeling like I was missing being creative. And so I thought like maybe I should try, like cooking again. So I did like a brunch pop-up for a while called Benatics, where I did like a pop-up brunch. We were doing eggs Benedicts in people's backyards and cafes and stuff like that. And we got some notoriety in LA Weekly and stuff. So I thought like maybe this can be a thing. And so, I was just sitting at work, just thinking like, all right, like I can either, become an NP, like just take it to the next level, or, just fork in the road kind of thing. And I figured, well, I can always go back to school. So maybe I should try food. So here I am.
Wow. That is awesome. And so for those of you watching, so Justin has been in the news a lot lately.
Wow.
Right? So who among you have seen Balitang America lately? Comment below. Let us know like if you've seen Balitang America. I'm sure you've seen Steve Angeles in historic Filipino town talking about HiFi Kitchen, and Justin Foronda, right? So he recently had Apple the app at his restaurant recently. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so Apple and his team reached out to us because they wanted to do something for the typhoon victims in the Philippines. And usually he has, like, he would just have like a concert or something, but they can't do that right now. So what happened was he thought it would be a cool idea if he sold his mom's adobo, raised money with his mom's adobo recipe, and send that money back home. So he taught me his mom's recipe, and last Saturday we served about almost like 200 people, and we raised money for PIJO, the Philippine Disaster Relief. But yeah, it was cool. It was super cool. It was someone that I've looked up to since I was really young. As I said, I used to be a dancer, and he was one of the people that I used to watch. Like Black Eyed Peas were like one of the groups I used to watch to learn how to dance, and so it's super cool just like being able to connect with somebody that I had, looked up to, and to connect with him in such like an intimate way, learning his mother's adobo and also doing it for such a cool cause. And as you guys know, the restaurant industry is having a hard time right now, and when all the typhoons, hit in November, end of October, early November, we heard about it, but there wasn't much that we could do because we're strapped ourselves, right? So it was really cool for Apple to enable us to help, so we were able to do something that, one, was rewarding for sure, but also helped a small business,
That is such an awesome thing because we're able to uplift our Filipino-American community and at the same time help our kababayans in the Philippines. And like Justin was saying earlier, that he was looking for something creative, right? And so we have someone who's super creative. Like she's been in like different kinds of crossroads, and she's even been on TV. Can you guys believe that? Like when I read her bio, I was like, wow. I mean, she's been on Hell's Kitchen. And so I wanted to, introduce to you Bev Lazo. She's the operations manager of Max's food truck. And yes, Max's of Manila has a food truck. And she's going to be the operations manager. And she's going to tell us all about Max's food truck and her creative process and her experiences being on all kinds of shows like Hell's Kitchen and Man versus Kid and other shows on TV. I mean, I can't believe like we have a celebrity in the house. So let's call Bev in. I'm excited.
Ta-da!
Hi guys.
Wow.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited. Thank you for inviting me. Hopefully I don't talk your ears off.
Yeah, and like we were saying earlier, you guys actually signed up for karaoke.
Yes, I
Is that a yes?
Everybody was talking, so I was actually in the bathroom doing my little voice exercises for you.
Oh my goodness.
La, 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 la.
Well, you heard me. There you go.
Yeah.
Is that you?
You can do it. You can do it now. It's all good.
So can you tell us a little bit something about your experiences being on TV, being a chef, an executive chef, an operations manager? I mean, you have so much.
So much going on.
You have so much in your bio.
I'm everywhere. I think that's one thing good about our industry, and like I've heard everybody speak of their past experiences, who they were before, prior to being a restaurateur. I think we all wear many different hats. And I was listening to a podcast with David Chang today, and how wearing many different hats and you become that person in the restaurant industry, it kind of helps for all the experiences you've had. So prior for me being a chef, I wanted to become a recording engineer. I wanted to be the biggest record producer in the world and make all this money and tour and all that stuff. And then reality hit, And I decided to go to culinary school because ever since I was a kid, I've always loved to cook. So, I think cooking and music go together. There's that recipe that goes together with both professions. So, but anyway, long story short, I was born in the Philippines and I was raised here. I do understand Tagalog and I understand Ilocano. So it's kind of a good weapon for me because everybody thinks I don't understand. So when I go to like family parties, I know what's going on. Even in kind of
No secret, huh?
yeah, the chismosas, and I'm like, if I don't understand what they're saying, then I'll go home and do the same thing about them. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, I've been in the industry for a long time. Thank you for the intro. I was on Hell's Kitchen, I was on Cutthroat Kitchen and Man vs. Child. Greatest experience ever. Toughest experience ever. Once you do one show, every other show has that kind of same formula after that. And but the toughest one, you can all guess, was Hell's Kitchen because it's very it's tough. And a lot of people who watch it, I know you guys, when you guys watch it, you yell at us, the contestants, letting us know how idiots we are, for not doing it right. And more than we do. And I was in that same boat too, as a fan for Gordon Ramsay. It was one of my dreams to be on that show. And because like any fan, I could cook better than these idiots over there. But in reality of the show, it was a very, very tough show to be on. And it was a great learning experience to take me to where I am right now. So, and now here I am back in LA. I was living in Alaska for the past 3 years. Just exploring, I can't sit still. So I went to Alaska to do some work and now I'm back working for Max's of Manila, the house that built chicken. And now we're doing a food truck. So the food truck will have that chicken.
Wow.
Roaming around
And
Los
now-
Angeles.
Yes.
As I was saying earlier, the new slogan's going to be, it's the truck that chicken built.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's still building it right now as we speak, especially at this time with the whole situation we're in. It's in a way, it's a blessing to have because people can't go out right now. And you just want to go get your food and go home, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
to have that kind of business right now is kind of a blessing. So you don't have to really go inside anywhere. You can just go run out to the truck and grab your food and go home and eat safely with your family. But at the same time, with the whole shutdown right now, it's tough for us to really actually get out there and do what we really want to do is go out to the community and get the community together and celebrate this new adventure that this Max's is going to have. So right now with the whole shutdown, I think, it's kind of tough. I mean, the truck will be launching pretty soon. The only way to find out is to follow us on our social media. And that's on Instagram and Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Max's food truck, you'll find out what's going on. And so we're going to do it old school. Find out where we are, go follow us. And then, but from there, we're just praying for everybody to stay safe for now, be healthy. So when that time comes, we want to see you guys get in line for some fried chicken and crispy pata.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fried goodness, you know what I mean? So if you do have a New Year's resolution to add more cholesterol to your diet, perfect. We're there for you.
Yeah, but we can find you on social media, and that's the power of social media. Just like, several years ago, it was all about finding everyone on Twitter where they were, where all the food trucks were, right? And so we're sort of, going back to that. And so we'll talk about how all of our restaurant owners have stayed afloat during this pandemic. So let's call everybody. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Let's do
Yes.
it.
Ta-da.
Let's get everyone in.
Full house.
Yes.
Full house.
Okay. What's your
All
order?
right. It's time to order from everybody.
In the bathroom.
Every location has their own specialty. I want to try that.
Yes, I
Background
think
music.
you're hearing Mickey's machine. No,
No.
no,
Is that a
no,
blender?
it's not
Some,
Mickey.
some kind of
It's Maxi
construction worker.
Mango. Yeah, so can anybody tell us how you guys have stayed afloat in your own restaurants? How have you kept in business, and what things have you done to course correct or to stay afloat, or to be open this whole time? It's been 9 months since we started lockdown.
Well,
Does anyone want to go first?
should I start? Should I start or?
Yeah, just go ahead.
Well, actually, for me, it was like the very first day I heard that lockdown, and what I did is I just never thought of slowing down or stop my business and just wait for 1 month because they were saying this might last like a month or two. So what I did the very first day on, if I remember correctly, it was like mid March. So what I did, I start pushing it on Facebook that we're gonna be doing deliveries, which is we never done deliveries before. So I set up a delivery, free delivery within 5 miles, and start telling people that we are doing takeouts now. So I pushed it. I kind of helped, my friends. I asked my friends to share it on Facebook. I just took advantage of the social media, and it actually paid off. And at the same time, um, at that time, everybody's panicking. So we did like for about 3 months where uh, we're like giving away like a pancet tray of pancet for the what do you call it? It's in my to my tongue. The nurses. What do you call that?
Frontliners.
Frontliners. There you go.
Frontliners.
There you go. The frontliners. We've done that for like about 3 months, but pretty much that really helped my business as far as helping give back at the same time. Just went out, just telling the whole community that we do takeouts and deliveries. That's what I did. Kind of help us out now. That's about it for me.
Karla?
Yeah, I think, well, with us, we were always mostly to go anyway. So I think that, worked in our favor because we are a coffee shop, but a lot of people take like dozens of pastries to go. And we do a lot of custom cakes and all that, but definitely adjusting to the current climate. For us, I know for sure, like we do a lot more delivery, like Dan said, but partnering up with Postmates, DoorDash, that has been like really important, especially now that people aren't leaving their houses. And yeah, also with adjusting, you gotta make sure that you're adjusting with what's going on. So we're packaging everything else a little bit differently. And then I'm sure we'll go into, the different things that we've done with our staff to make sure that, we are staying safe as well. But definitely social media marketing has definitely been more of a priority because, with people not really going out as much, then you really have to push it on all sorts of platforms. So that's definitely what's worked with us.
And Miki? Are you there?
What was the question?
So how have you stayed afloat during this pandemic?
Well, I'm actually like in uniform right now, apron and everything. So one of the ways that we stayed afloat was manning the store ourselves. So that saves us a lot on staff salaries. So as much as I can, I do take days off, but as much as I can, I man the store myself from opening to closing, and that saves us a lot of money. So, and we've also signed up for delivery services like Uber Eats, Postmates, Grubhub, stuff like that. So we have like additional income.
Mm-hmm. That is awesome. So we've seen a lot of you guys are using delivery services like Postmates, Grubhub, DoorDash. Adelle, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, In my case, everything is opposite. The pandemic started at March. So March going to summer is my peak season. So the only problem on me is wala akong staff. Nobody wants to work. So I turned off all the social media, I turned off all the third-party deliveries, and cater all the walk-ins. So yung mga regular customers ko. So far, hindi ko problema yung sales nung time na yon. But my problem is staff. I'm understaffed. So I cannot, may time na nagsasara ako kasi nobody wants to work except me. So at least I need two staff to help me. But takot sila sa pandemic so they don't want to work. But later on, little by little, na-convince ko silang bumalik because of the PPP loan. So even though na hindi ko sila masyadong kailangan, they want more hours, I can give them hours. So up to now, hindi ko masyadong problem yung kasi poke is very rare. Hindi lahat may poke. So far, talagang surviving kami plus yung mga party trays.
Justin, do you want to add anything to that? How have you guys stayed afloat?
Lots of prayers.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're super lucky because our landlord has been really understanding, and yeah, just like Dan said earlier about the frontliners. Since I have a background in the medical field, that was kind of like my first reaction was like, all right, well, how are we going to support them? My friends, you know, like all my friends are still working out there and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, like that was like the first reaction, right? So word of mouth got through, you know, with that helped a lot. But we were only open for a year. We had celebrated our 1 year anniversary in late February, and then everything shut down 2 weeks after. And so we were just really just getting our feet wet. We were just getting our feet under ourselves. And so, I mean, yeah, I mean, we were having a hard time at that time. And but I think the extra time we cut hours, and the extra time that I had, I was able to like work on stuff like specials and stuff that I had been wanting to work on for a while. And like I think that's got a lot of people like coming because it's just something different all the time. You know what I mean? But yeah.
And so for everybody, what inspired you or what made you decide to go into the restaurant business? Is it something that you've been wanting to do since you were a child, or was there any cathartic moment that happened that made you want to go into it? Anybody? Let's start with Deb.
Oh gosh. Yeah, you know, like I said, you know, as a kid growing up here watching PBS, everybody watched my age group. Julia Child was around. That interest of, I mean, I grew up in Carson, so I experimented with my friends, and they were willing to be my guinea pigs. So, you know, cooking for them, and then just dreaming of having my own restaurant. I mean, I don't own one, but I've consulted a lot of restaurants. I've helped build their menus, and I've seen their dreams come true. So I'm letting them do their dream because I can't sit still. I like to be everywhere. So I love being an executive chef. I love being a consultant to help others achieve their dreams in this industry. But as an owner, I used to own my own catering company, and it's not easy. We're going to be honest. It's not easy. That's why we rely on social media nowadays. You know, back then we didn't have that. We were talking about Twitter, about the trucks. That's how we advertised where we were going to be located. And that was another form of free advertisement. I think nowadays with what's going on, it's a perfect time to utilize all those tools because everybody at home, unfortunately not being able to work, but they have time to scroll for even 1 second. And if you post one photo of your food item, your coffee, your smoothie, your poke bowl, that catches their eye, and they're going to want to get out of the house for a bit to go to your establishment and go get food. So again, I think right now it's hard because everybody is afraid, but they have to eat. They don't want. We all got tired of eating at home, right? When we were all, stuck at home for a month or two. So we were cooking everything from sourdough to, paella, whatever, experimenting everything. But we got to the point we got tired of eating at home. So I know right now it's hard. Our employees don't, like she said, half of them don't want to work. We get it. But at the same time, it should go back, I think, hopefully next year. And with what you guys are doing right now, social media wise, I think you'll be okay. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Karla?
Well, for me, it's very accidental, I would say. I mean, like I said, I went to school for business and then also went to school for fashion. So I was in the business side of fashion for 7 years. And so completely different field, but at the same time, I always knew my parents owned a lot of businesses. So I also kind of wanted something that was mine. And I never wanted to do something in fashion. So when the opportunity came for me to open a coffee shop, it actually started with coffee for me. I mean, I worked a lot at such a young age, and I did depend on coffee a lot. So for me, the love of the food industry started with coffee. And eventually, I had the opportunity to open Kape, and I obviously wanted a part of me in there. And as a kid who always moved to different countries, for me to do something that was Filipino inspired or partly Filipino, then that mattered a lot to me. And so I ended up consulting initially through this project, and then I ended up as the owner 6 months later. And now we've been around for 5 years. As everyone here can attest, it's really hard. Everyone thinks opening like your own restaurant is really easy, but it's a lot of work, and it's not glamorous work either. But when you love it and you are passionate about something, I really think you can do anything. Because like I said, I didn't have any food industry at all. I didn't even have coffee experience. I was never a barista. So for me to learn how to be a barista and how to bake and, really, really expanding your resources to being open to learn, that's all that matters in getting into this field. So that's how it was for me. But again, it's a very different situation. Like I didn't really grow up wanting to own a restaurant, and now we're here. And I'm very thankful because as you can tell, this industry is an essential industry because people are always going to be hungry. People are always going to want to eat. And even though I don't have like food, like meals, I do a lot of desserts and cakes, and people will always have birthdays. People will always have weddings. So those things really I think now more than ever is more important, and people see that now. So that's how I got into the industry. Long story short.
And there's someone who's actually similar because Kuya Dan, can you explain to everybody how you got into owning Bamboo Bistro? Because I know you've said before that you never had restaurant experience, right? And you were never into owning a restaurant. So how did you get into Bamboo Bistro?
I was actually in IT field for about 20 years, and it was just as you said, it was just an accident. At that time, I don't know if I should say it, but I lent this guy money, and he said, "Hey, I can turn it around in 2 months, then I'll give it back to you with interest." So I did that, and then after 2 months, they just can't pay me. So it happened to be he's the owner of this Bamboo Bistro. Now you guys know in West Covina. So he said, "You know what? Why don't you just take over Bamboo Bistro and run it yourself, and just give me 4,000 a month, and whatever earnings that you get, it's yours." So I said, "Let me think about that because I don't have any restaurant experience." And he said, "Well, I got my staff, and they can run it for you." And then a day after, I told them, "You know what? I don't want to do it." And then he goes, "Do you want to buy it?" I was like, "I'm not really ready for anything like that." and then went home, talked to my wife, my ex-wife now. So, and then we decided, why don't you go back and ask them how much they will sell it for? And then we decided to, let's do it. It's like I heard someone, I don't know if it's Adele, I heard that word again, lakas ng loob, di ba? Lakasan ng loob. That's what I did. So far, you just can't beat having your own business. I mean, I can never say that I'll go back to working for someone again. So, unfortunately with the pandemic, if you really love your business, love what you do, I mean, we can fight this. I always believe in that. So that's how I end up having Bamboo Bistro.
That's wonderful. I mean, that's wonderful. Like, we picked up another golden nugget because, if you love something, then you go for it wholeheartedly. And, right? Tama yung sinabi mo, it's all about lakas ng loob. You just have to, do it and try it for yourself and see what happens, right? But if you don't, then you'll never know. Right? And so I've, tasted all of you guys' food, and I just want to know, so like, what happens with your creative process? Do you make your food yourself, or do you have someone else come up with all of the dishes that you serve at your restaurant? Justin, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think that's the best part. Like that's the most fun part is getting to be creative and trying out flavors. One, like learning about them, learning how flavors affect each other, temperatures, all that stuff. Right? Like that's the most fun part, and that's why I got into it, was so I can create something to share with people. And that's always kind of like how I've been ever since I was, ever since I was young. Like, how can I make something and like, and share it, whether it was like dancing or like music, like writing music and stuff. And so it's very similar to like that process, to like making moves, to writing songs and stuff, right? Like, you try things out, some things don't work, or they will work, but you just have to like tweak it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like that, like all that stuff's super fun. And yeah, I mean, I don't have a business background at all, and so that's something I'm learning on the fly. But the passion that I have for being creative is like, that's kind of like what like keeps me motivated to learn all the stuff that I'm not privy to learn all the stuff that that doesn't come naturally to me, right? Which is like the business stuff, the numbers, the math, so much algebra. I'm not that kind of Asian, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so all of us have, our own strengths and weaknesses, and it just goes to show that, there's some people have business experience, some people have experience in cooking ever since they were kids, so it's all different, right? But you guys all ended up in the same restaurant industry, right? And so that's something that binds everyone who's in this panel together. So does anyone else want to talk about their creative process? Karla?
For me, it's all about, well, a lot of my inspiration is kind of like your childhood, right? And I think like a lot of us, because we are Filipino restaurants and businesses, we kind of want, for me, one of our best sellers that we've had for like over 5 years are the crinkles, right? And if you grew up in the Philippines, you know what a chocolate crinkle is. It's just, you grew up on that. So for me, thinking about, what we would make first, I kind of wanted the crinkles and 20 flavors. And that's really what we've become known for. And again, that's not just me to make it for business, to make money. If you're in this business to make money, it's really going to be really hard for you. Like, honestly, I think you have to come into it with a different purpose. And mine was always that Filipino food is always in the back burner here in the States. Like if you really think about it, you can go to like, Chinese restaurants and Indian restaurants. Filipino restaurants are, although we have a lot, it's not really that mainstream yet. So I feel like I can do my end on the dessert side, right? And for people, also part of my business is giving that taste of home to people. So when you're eating something, you're like, oh, that reminds me of my childhood or Philippines. And also, but part of that is also introducing flavors to people who are not Filipino. And that's honestly, I think, where I am with my shop and my business is I always think about both ends, people who want the taste for nostalgia, but also for people who have never tried it before and present it in a way that's not too scary for them. You know what I mean? So that's a lot of my creative process is inspiration from memories and, but also I'm the opposite of Justin. I have the business background, but I don't have the culinary background at all. I don't really cook. That's my husband's skill. I really don't cook. So for me to even think about food and recipes, it's a lot. And I can honestly say that, a good part of my recipes is mine from trial and error. Like with anybody, you can be resourceful and look at all the recipes you want. And it's just all about trial and error, right? But I am not afraid to say that I have help too. Like I have bakers who have helped me because I do not bake. Does that make sense? So for me, I have the craziest ideas. Like I want to make turon, but in a puff pastry. But I couldn't really do that. Like I can put things together, but when you're baking, it's scientific, right? So if I can make a small batch, how am I going to make a big batch? Because you don't just multiply the recipe by 5 and then get the same results. So that's where I get the professionals, and that's where they teach me how to bake and how to do certain basic kitchen things. But you have to be open to learning all the time. I think that's a big thing.
Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned something about getting help from people who are experts and getting help from people who know. And so Miki was one of those who were in the spotlight with Mick and Jay's show, and she talked about Maxi Mango and how she started. And that's one of the things she said is to get help if you don't know anything, and if you know that you want to scale your business, you have to ask for help. And so Miki, are you there? I just wanted to find out from you what your process is about your products. Not sure if she's there, but so Bev, do you want to answer?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh,
I was waiting for Miki there.
Oh yeah, yeah, she might have a customer. So can you talk about oh, there he is. Miki, are you there? Okay, so
Sorry.
oh, okay. Yeah, so can you talk more about your process, how you came up with the concept of Maxi Mango and all of the different goodies that you have there at your store?
Well,
How did you come up with the different
everything? Yeah. Well, when we initially went home to the Philippines, we had the opportunity to franchise an ice cream store, which was mainly sort of like Dairy Queen. So vanilla ice cream with all different kinds of chocolate, all different kinds of fruit, and it had mango, but it was a very small part of the menu and would very often be overlooked. So we wanted to try to do just mango because it was very cost effective and we had the best profit margin with mango. So we joined a bazaar, like a pop-up, like a food truck festival. It was a 3-day thing, and we tried to do it just mango, and we called it Maxi Mango. And it really worked. It worked a lot better than we expected. So we decided to focus just on that. So that's how Maxi Mango sort of came about. And we just, after the bazaars, we started opening branches in the Philippines until we opened here.
And as far as like the flavors or the different kinds of drinks, did you just come up with them, or how did you end up having those at your store?
My husband and I did a lot of R&D for Maxi Mango, so the hardest part was getting the ice cream to be exactly perfect. So we have a lot of things that are all focused around mangoes. Like the ice cream, the smoothies are all mango based. Like we have plain mango, mango watermelon, mango strawberry, and we have the sticky rice, which is very popular here in the United States. Fruit cups, tapioca, that sort of thing.
Awesome. And Deb, do you have anything to add? Like I know your line of like cooking is very different from everyone else here. So how do you like when you're in the Hell's Kitchen, let's say, like how do you come up with all these dishes?
On
How
the
do you
show?
come up with how do you come up
It's called Gordon Ramsay throwing it at you, and you just work on the fly. I mean, especially with the challenges, I think that was my most favorite part of being on the show, where all the challenges of utilizing an ingredient that he throws at you. And so basically, being creative on the fly is a good thing, because like the pandemic, we go at it, whatever you had at home, you had to work with. And that's how we work. When I'm an executive chef at a restaurant, and if I have so many items I need to utilize, I need to figure out how can I get creative so I can push this product out in many ways. So being on Hell's Kitchen, that kind of helped a lot, because you're on a time crunch. You're like, oh my God, I have this risotto that he wants me to use, but then I have these scallops too at the same time. What do I do with these? He doesn't want us to combine it, and you just have to be creative. Again, like any of these guys here, we're all chefs, so whatever ingredients we have is work with it, and then it's all about trial and error, and it's about trying to upsell it to your customers. So I always say, have fun with your food. Whether it be the mango and sticky rice, that's such a classic flavor. And doing it as an ice cream, oh my God, I want to go to your store too now. And then I want to try
Man.
your
Thank
cookies,
you.
because you guys make it
all
fun, and
that
that's
talk
what
is
makes
making
your
me
business just go boom. You guys should be just be you. You guys are the stars. You know what I mean? And that's what makes your business shine. And I feel like because I work for Max, it's a whole different thing. They're already been established. You know what they serve already. You know what I mean? So these are things we're talking about, tradition, to where, okay, well, I'm going to take a break from having this, the poke made with uni. I'm going to take a break from that because I want some crispy pata and dip it in some vinegar and garlic and eat with my hands, with my feet up and, on the table. You know what I mean? You want to go back to your old school ways. And I think where I work right now, it takes me back to being a kid too. And it takes me down to that level where I'm humbled to appreciate our food, because we have to go back to the story of how Filipino food became and how now it's getting popular here in the US as well.
Mhm.
But again, it's just having fun with your food. If they give me fried chicken, leftover fried chicken, I'll bring it home and make something out of it. You know what I mean? I can't make it there because it's for Max's. It'll be theirs, but again, utilize what you have, and that's it. Just have fun, and put your name on it, because that's you.
That is so awesome. And Miss Adele, so your process is completely different from everyone else because obviously you're making Hawaiian food and you've never been to Hawaii. So how did you come up with all of these Hawaiian dishes?
What makes them popular? So, kailangan i-beat mo siya. So, I'm not creative like yours. So, nag-rely lang ako sa study. Wide reader ako eh. So, study, read. So, what makes me different from them? So, first of all, I want to be my originality and uniqueness. So, once na-establish ko na yung original, hindi ako original ng Loco Moco, let's say, but I make everything different from them. So, in that case, competitors, saka ano ba yung gusto ng customer mo? At paano mo sila mapiplease? I want them, before leaving the store, I want them to feel happy. So, I need to find out, I always find out what makes them happy. So, dun ako nag-ano na, I need to explore. Hindi ako nakapunta na Hawaii, but study, reading, and then a little bit small talk to the customer. What do you want exactly in your poke? What do you want exactly in your meal, your Hawaiian meal? What is lacking? What is missing? Something like that. So doon ako nag-come up lahat. So doon na-develop lahat ng recipe ko, doon na-develop sa kanila nang galing mismo. Sa customer mismo nang galing. Bakit ko na-come up yung ganung mga recipe, ganung lasa.
And so do you have any tips for anyone who wants to be in the restaurant industry or who wants to own their own business that is food related? Anybody?
Well, I say just we all have our opinions. I'll be nice about it, but you know what? It's a tough industry, but like everybody else, if you're very, very, very passionate about doing it, make sure you are ready, because you are going to live, eat, breathe 24 hours, 7 days a week. That's your life. So if you're willing to sacrifice that for a dream, do it, but you have to prepare, because we've all been to that moment. We get burned out. There's that burnout. We get excited, we build ourselves, and we have all these great ideas, and next thing you know it, you're exhausted. So either if you are ready for it, do it, but have that support system to help you out. You need that help. Don't always think there's people like, oh, I got it, I got this, I can handle it on my own. It's not easy, but you know what? If you have those dreams and goals, do it. And start. I always say start small. Don't go from here to here right away at all. That's my advice, because there's those restaurateurs who's never owned a restaurant. I tell them start this way, then start gradually adding to your menu or going big, because sometimes it may not work out, and some people get frustrated and they expect that result right away. So that's part of what I've experienced. So
Dan?
Yeah, exactly what Deb said. I was one of the guilty one, like no experience with the restaurant business. I got excited. I bought Whiskabina. I was doing fine with one store, and then I got excited. A year and a half after, I opened one up in the valley. So that's what made it so difficult for me, because just going back and forth like an hour and 15 minutes drive. It's it takes a toll. You're right. It's just a human nature. If you're making good money on one, you're thinking, if I double it, I'll make a lot more. But it's not that easy. You need to spend with your customers, going through with your staff, make sure everything is working fine. With more stores, then it's really it's difficult when I first started, and then along the way I learned a lot. As Justin said too, no experience with with anything as far as restaurants. So you kind of like kapa. You just don't know what's gonna happen next. Unlike Bev, they know as far as doing costing and all that. With me, I was like, okay, what's coming in, what's coming out of, you sign the check, and that's all there is to it. I didn't even do inventory at one point, that kind of thing. But yeah, look at Bev, you're like, what? So I learned the hard way, and luckily for me, I love what I do, and it's working out fine now. I'm still running at this point, with all these trials, but we'll be fine. And my advice to them is just don't rely on family and friends saying, "Oh, open one up, I'll support you." No, if you're gonna open your business just relying on friends and family saying they'll support, it's not enough. You really need to study your product, study the location, make sure you just have to do it right, or else it's just gonna go, downhill for sure. So that's it.
Miss Adele?
Well, according to Bear, everything that she said is true. So parang you have to be there 24/7 without even thinking to get a time off. And then even though nasa bahay ka na, you have to think of them, what's going on. It's very difficult. Actually, uh, I'm discouraging my friend to open a restaurant business. If you're not dedicated, if you're not, you know, think- like para mo na siyang asawa na lagi mo kasama 24/7. So it's very difficult. It's very hard. It's like that. Andi dito na eh. I need to fight. But if I have if I have a choice, I don't want restaurant. But since naging okay naman, maybe gift from God. Ganun na lang. Pero it's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Justin or Karla?
So I think for me, my advice is you have to be a little bit crazy to be in this industry. It's true because like what Dan said earlier, you have to lakasan ng loob is very true because if you play it safe all the time and you're like, oh, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, you're never gonna make it. You have to dream big, but responsibly. You also have to you have to really be creative and do everything 100% and not, oh, if I fail, because there's no option. Like Dan, I think we're very similar because I came in with partners and, when you're in that position, you have no choice but to succeed, right? So otherwise, the bankruptcy, everything that will go all under, backtrack. You really, when you have no choice, but when you sign a lease for 3-5 years, you really have to do well.
Yep.
I think that's something that I have to say. And also be careful who you go into business with. I think, a lot of people are like, oh, I'll go into business with my best friend, with my cousin, with my tita, with my tito. You have to make sure that you really think it through because I think businesses ruin families and friendships. And it's really hard because no one's going to work as hard as you, right? You as the business owner. So if you have somebody with you in the business who's money, investment, it's really, really hard because you're the one there physically, mentally invested. So I think you have to just be careful of who you go into business with and also be very bold in your choices. And somehow also, I think for me, doing business the right way will always give you back good karma, if that makes sense. I feel like you don't cheat on anything and you provide the product that you really believe in. You don't skimp out on other things and you don't do the wrong things. I think good karma is good karma, right? So that's always been me. And I feel funny story actually, but when I first opened, nobody knew us. We started from nothing. I really built Kape Republic from scratch. And someone told me that it wasn't going to work, and I think that's fine. That's criticism and that's someone's opinion. But when you have that in your head, it's served that as motivation, So not everyone has what it takes to open a business, like all you guys know how hard it is. And if you do it, you got to do it all the way. You can't just do it a little bit here, a little bit there. Don't open a restaurant for part-time because it's not going to work. You need to be there physically. That's a big one. Don't do it because you want to retire and leisurely have a business. You can't do that. I don't know. That's me.
Justin?
Yeah, man, I'm taking notes, man. No, yeah, for sure. I mean, Carl said earlier, like, don't, you're not gonna open a restaurant and be balling just like make mad money. That's not that's not how this works. You just have to be passionate about it. I mean, you have to know that you're serving people. This is a job where you're doing it for somebody else, right? This is you're in customer service. Right? It's not about you. It's not about you making money and making it or whatever, whatever intentions that you have. Like, your intention is to serve customers. And I think that's like, I mean, like, yeah, there's like, there's glitz and glamour to everything. But if you do it right, the karma gods won't get you. You know what I mean? Yeah, you just have to do everything the right way.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if there's anything that I would have to say to someone that wants to start, I mean, that's it. Do it for the right reasons. One, two, don't do it. I'm just kidding. But because, yeah, I mean, everyone's right. Like, because you'll be there, and it's like ground up, it's heavy and it's dirty. You know what I mean? Like, you have to. I'm still here. I'm in the restaurant. Right? I've been here since this morning. Yeah, I mean, but like, that's how it goes, and I like it. Like, I like grinding, right? So, like, if you want to do that, then you should do that.
And so this show is about the totality of the person, this segment is who is SoCal, like who are the people behind our SoCal Pinoys group and who are the Filipino-Americans in SoCal. And so we want to know, like, what do you do outside of the restaurant? Like, what are your hobbies? Anything that, anything that you want to share with us? I mean, outside of being a cook or chef or restaurant owner, is there anything else? Like
you mean before pandemic, right?
Yeah.
or during pandemic. Are there any new things you discovered about yourself during this pandemic? Anybody?
I go and eat. I'm gonna go to each and every one of your places.
Yeah, come on by.
I'm a big foodie at heart, so I'm that old school. Like, bring out your camera, someone turn the light on, because I'm gonna take a photo and share your dish, so everybody can come and check you out too. I'm a big foodie, and it's hard right now. So what I literally just got back from Alaska a month ago. So Alaska, we have nothing, and I'm this LA girl. I was raised here, and I was in a small town. They have nothing. When I came home, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go here," and then now we got shut down. So what I literally do, I'll go to your restaurant, I'll get the food, and I'll go to the beach or to the park, and go enjoy it. You can still do that. So whoever's watching, go to these restaurants and support them, and you could go hang out at the park or in your car. Okay, in your car, do they let you eat out in the park? I don't know. I didn't get in trouble yet, so I'm here. So I think we're good. But I'm a foodie. I'm just like, I love to travel. So those are the things I like to do. Food's always going to be in my head, in my stomach, in my heart. So.
Me too. I'm a foodie. Like, I always think about eating every single time. Like,
I know you're thinking, what are you going to eat after this? I know, that's what I'm doing.
Like, all this talk about food is making me hungry. So, Kuya Dan, what do you do outside of being at Bamboo Bistro?
Walk my dog. I don't, since pandemic, it's just a straight, no day offs, just straight work, man. This is my bread and butter. I mean, there's no way I can slow down and take a but I stay there like from 10 to 8. I let my staff do the cleaning and all, but still no day off. I'm doing my own delivery. I mean, so except for DoorDash and delivery platforms, but again, that's, I walk my dogs. We pretty much stay at home because I'm actually scared of going out. To be honest with you, I'm afraid that if I catch it, then I bring it to my restaurant, and then my staff gets it, and it's basically shut down the whole thing. It's just all this hard work will be gone. So I'm really careful about going out. I mean, it's I just watch my Netflix, and that's why in the group I asked what do you recommend on Netflix, right? I don't know if you guys remember that post. That's what I do. Straight bamboo home. Because I travel around Valley because I do deliveries. So that's what I do.
Karla?
I'm a new mom, so I really don't have time between everything else. So running the business, and then, like I said, having our first baby, and my husband's in the military too, so it's kind of hard. Thank you. He's in the Navy, been in for 15, 16 years, I think. So yeah, it's really hard, but the business is my first baby, really, and you really have to take care of it because, like you said, it's your bread and butter. And I mean, like I said, pre-pandemic, I think we all like to travel and have like little luxuries like that. But now more than ever, you kind of want to stay home, and you really value what you have, right? Like your blessings with your family. And it's kind of a blessing in disguise if you think about it. It's like forcing you to stay home, forcing you to reconnect with friends and family, like virtually checking in on family in the Philippines. That's the one thing I'm sad about is I can't go home. I usually go home once a year. And just got married in the Philippines last year. Thank God we did it before all this. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So big year for me, despite, the pandemic, baby, marriage, life. Life is crazy, but when you have something that you enjoy, and back to, I'm sorry, like when we were talking about advice to give to people, I feel like we're scaring some people from opening their own restaurants because it's really hard. But at the same time, if you have your own business, you have the flexibility to fix your schedule, right? And have like family time when you want. And there's nothing like owning your own business. So it's a lot of responsibility, a lot of work, but it has its pros too.
And so someone in the comment section said Cafe Republic has really good ube shake with boba.
Yeah, it's called Purple
so that's
Rain.
Like a live testimonial.
Thank you so much.
So Miss Adelle, Adelle, do you have anything that you're doing outside of the restaurant? Like I know you read a lot about your products, but is there anything that you do outside of managing and owning a restaurant?
Meron ba? Wait. Well, if I got the chance to take a time off, sa bahay lang ako, linis ng bahay. Then, paperwork really very, very talagang paperwork lang. Wala. My life is boring. This restaurant, yeah, very boring.
Everyone's kind of saying the same thing about you, Justin.
Lie down. Just pull my feet up. She's always on your feet, man. This is like the worst. No, bro. No, but for real. Like, I mean, yeah, owning your own restaurant is really dope. And yeah, don't be scared to do it. Like, if you really want to do it, like, do it. But yeah, we're open just half the week right now, just 4 days. And so that's still not really enough like time off really, because I'm still like learning about inventory, about costing and all that stuff. And during our first year, like I was working all the time, so I didn't really I couldn't really do all that. So I'm starting to catch up now. So on my time off, I'm trying to catch up on things that I didn't do, just learning things about it. I'm still practicing as a registered nurse per diem. And so I just worked yesterday at the hospital. And yeah, I mean, play board games. That's pretty boring. That's pretty geeky. Probably shouldn't have said that out loud. I'm just kidding. I mean, we still try to play music. I play drums in a band, and so we send each other like songs that we're working on and stuff, and try to do that. But that's like, that's not all the time. But it's just fun. It's just fun to exercise your creativity in something else, because like all of us can attest, like, if you just keep on grinding on like one thing, it just kind of becomes like you just feel like you're a robot. You don't get very passionate about it. But if you have like other outlets, it reminds you, or kind of like opens up things that you may be stuck on at the restaurant, right? It opens up like different, like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, maybe I can apply what I learned from doing this into that, so yeah, really, real big opponent for creativity, whatever it may be.
Do you have
Sorry,
anything
yeah.
for us?
What kind of
You want to
totally
show
like
us your you have anything out there that you can show to us regarding your creativity? As far as I know, you used to break dance and all of that.
Yeah, four score and 20 pounds ago. No, there's no sample here, dude. Like, I'm gonna break.
No sample?
I will injure myself for sure.
How about a video?
Did you guys hear that in 2024 breakdancing will be part of the Olympic game? Huh?
Really?
Yeah. Super
Also
happy about it.
skateboarding
Yeah.
as well. Huh?
Are you training for that, Justin?
No, I can like, now that I've been in a business, like now that I own my own business, I was thinking, maybe I can go into consulting for breakdancers. You know what I mean? Like, how can I like use my knowledge in a way that like, that serves others? Yeah, I don't know. Super funny. Just such a, when you own your own business, you have such a different way of like looking at things.
Yes, agree. And so we'll see Justin coaching for breakdancing, right?
Or at least like feeding them or something. I don't know.
Do you have a video for us? No?
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
Sample. Showdown.
Walang sample.
Showdown. Back in the days.
Yeah, no. I know. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything queued up, and I don't really know how to screen share on this thing. So.
Oh. Well, we'll have Kuya Ed sing.
Hell yeah.
Later on. Yeah,
There you go.
we'll have him sing. But I just wanted to find out, since all of you have shared so many golden nuggets and your experiences and so many awesome stories that you've gone through, and your failures and successes in owning a restaurant. So what are your top memories, your best memories from running a restaurant or owning a restaurant?
Mm-hmm. Did somebody sleep over?
That's like the $1 million question. What
Whoa.
stands out? Like after everything that you've gone through all these years, what stands out for you? Like any,
Sa sobrang pagod, yung iba natulog na lang do sa di ba? They said if you have a restaurant, that's like your first house rather than your original house. Right?
Anybody, Kuya Dan?
Let's see. I guess it happened way back in West Covina, where after a couple of years of doing this business, I was just all new to this restaurant business. And then I know how to pakisama, as you know, Mick. I've known Michelle for a long time. So after a couple of years, there's this old man went to we used to have buffet in West Covina, and this guy walked in. I mean, this old guy walked in, and then I normally talk to my customers, and then he goes, "Oh, you know what, Iho?" He called me Iho. You know how I learned about Bamboo Bistro? I met this guy in Lake Elsinore. He was eating in McDonald's, and this guy walked in, Filipino guy, and they just started chatting. And then he mentioned that, you know, he mentioned about Bamboo Bistro's buffet, and then he said you got to try it. And then he went to West Covina and tried it himself, and he goes, you know, tama nga siya, and masarap nga pagkain nyo. And that's really validates what I've been doing as you know, as an owner of Bamboo Bistro. It felt good because as an owner, nobody will tap you that you're doing well except for yourself. You know how hard it is to start from, you know, start a business, and you're the only one that can actually tap yourself like good job, you know, because all they see is when you get a lot of orders, when the place is packed one day, but they don't see those slow days. You know, they only see when it's packed. You know, but as far as overhead and all, it's a lot of work, and for that, for someone to validate that you're doing a great job, that really one of my memorable experience in Bamboo Bistro, I should say.
Anyone else? Miss Adele?
Go ahead, Karla.
No, go ahead po. Okay.
Actually, parang it seems like every day is the same for me. So nothing much memorable. The only thing that makes me stay there, makes me the only thing that makes give me courage to keep going is I have a lot of supporters that keep on supporting us. They always if they have open conversation. If they found something wrong, they tell us to you honestly without anything, and then they're not asking for anything in return. So parang less ako sa mga customer ko there because they are not too much complain. They more on they want you to succeed. So every day is memorable sa akin dahil every day I encounter a customer that showing their support, giving you some knowledge and wisdom in order for you to keep going. And then they always ask you, how are you? How's your business? So every day is parang happy ka na dun. Makarinig ka lang ng once a day, parang, I need to strive, I need to succeed because I don't want to fail them.
Yes, agree. So, Bev, do you have any memorable stories? I know you have a lot of experiences. Any kitchen backstories or anything like that?
Good or bad? I mean, I've worked so many restaurants. I think I'm going to say it in a way where there's a lot of characters that I've ran into and worked with. And I think those are positives and negatives. So at the same time, for me, the best experience I've had just being in an industry is meeting these different characters. So they either build you or they bring you down. And again, you become strong in between those things. But I think friendships throughout the years of working in many different restaurants. And I know, Karla, we have someone in common. Is it Laura?
Yes. So I actually met them through our shop. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a small world. So I think we're all connected somehow. And that's what I love about this industry, because we don't realize we know somebody in between that. And I think it's all about networking and meeting people. I love meeting people because I love making friends. And again, you need that support. Like Adele says, you need that support. Like Karla says, you need that support. Sometimes like in certain ways to help boost your morale. And making friends in this industry, whether it be the customer or, or a vendor, even a supplier, you have that connection somehow. So I think just being in this industry, meeting people for me is the best experience ever.
That is awesome. And yes, we do need friends, and we do need to network. And Justin, I know you've worked and collaborated with a lot of people in the Filipino-American community. Any memorable moments for you?
Opening. Yeah, I mean, HiFi Kitchen is named after the neighborhood, HiFi, historic Filipino town, right? So growing up in the neighborhood, ever since I was really young, you know, there's a Koreatown, Chinatown, Little Tokyo, and when you were in those respective enclaves, like you knew you were there, right? You know, when you're in Koreatown, you know you're in Koreatown. When you're in Little Tokyo, you know you're in Little Tokyo. But when you're in historic Filipino town, it's not as obvious, and so that's why I named the restaurant after the neighborhood, just to like give like just to give it a bit more visibility, you know. And so part of that function, part of why we're here, why we're serving food, I call the restaurant like a culinary platform, like like we use food as a platform to give visibility to the neighborhood. And so collaborating with like a lot of the people like that are local, like showing people like through food, because food's something that like everyone eats, right? Like Miss Bev said, like everyone's gonna eat. And so it's just something that like that starts like a conversation, right? And so we'll like team up with like an open mic, right? Sunday Jump, right? That's been here for like 8 years. You know, supporting artists like that. We had a I guess one of the highlights was we had a drive-in like concert in a parking lot, just like, you know, just next door, you know. And we had like a band, we had like a couple bands there and stuff, and we had a magician, poets and stuff, you know. And like that's dope to me, because it's like outside of the food, we're really just trying to find a way to support, to give people like a mental break just from like everything that's been going on, the social unrest, on top of like the pandemic, on top of you know, the presidential stuff, right? Like that was a lot. And I guess maybe it's just like that empathic like nurse button in me that's just like, yo, like a lot of people are going through a lot of stuff, like we should do something like dope, like like not just food, like let's like make something happen, right? And so so it goes with bringing people to HiFi, letting people know that there is a HiFi, and enjoying themselves here, and just like serving them food, of course, but also like serving an experience that, you know, that means a lot to, you know. So yeah, that's like just kind of like one of the things that was super cool. Also, like hanging out with Apple DF, that was cool. But yeah.
Yeah, and so that's a really beautiful story. You know, we're connecting everybody in the Filipino-American community, and we are uplifting our Filipino-American community. And with all of these restaurant owners, they're doing what they can do in their chosen platform, which is the restaurant, to uplift our community and bring visibility and awareness to Filipino Americans all over, not just Southern California, but all over the U.S. And on behalf of, you know, Arvin and Kuya Ed, I just want to thank everyone for being on our show. It's been a great night once again with, you know, iDREAM Live 91.5 podcast. And thank you all so much for being on our show. We learned so many things. We picked up so many golden nuggets, and not just golden nuggets, but actual bars, you know, like that we can, you know, take and, apply to our own lives, right? Yeah, and so thank you so much,
Thank you.
Kuya Ed.
Yes, that was a great mentorship from all of these business owners, right?
Yeah, I feel like I went through a crash course on how
Right.
to, open a restaurant.
We were planning to open a restaurant as well, but all this wisdom and knowledge. I said, like Ate Beb says, gotta start from small. Unless you have really, really big capital, maybe. But if you're expecting a lot, it might go down, right? So that's very a heartbreaker. So might as well start small, So it's because my wife, she really loves to cook, right? Sometimes when we have parties, right, my kids will just order. So for her not to cook, because of her passion to cook, no matter what, she still have to cook something. That's why my kids just leave her alone. Let her do what she wants to do, right? She still has to cook something, at least 2 or 3 dishes. Huh?
Can we go to your house, Kuya Ed?
Oh, sure. Well, after the lockdown. But before you go to our house, I'll go to your house first. To theirs first, right? I want to taste all the recipes, especially.
And before you come to my house, we have to go to everyone else's restaurant and order from them, right?
Yes,
I need the Max chicken with the banana ketchup.
I just bought a case for you, so come on down.
Right.
That's awesome. And so everybody check out their restaurants. HiFi Kitchen is in historic Filipino town, 1667 Beverly Boulevard, corner of Union Avenue. And Bamboo Bistro is in the Valley in Panorama City on Van Nuys Boulevard and Chase, in between Chase and Roscoe. And Karla's Kape Republic is in Cerritos. So, if you know the jingle to 605 South Street, Cerritos Auto Square, I mean, you'll pass by it. It's right next to Seafood City. And Adelle Gutierrez, she owns Poke and More. She's in Long Beach. And what's the street of Poke and More?
Carson Street. And
Carson Street. If you go Carson Street all the way, you can hit 2 spots because you'll hit Karla's Kape Republic too.
One-stop shop.
Yeah. So everybody go to their restaurants and let's support our local restaurant owners. Let's support Filipino-American businesses. And so if anyone has any questions, you can comment below, and I'll reach out to each of our restaurant owners if you have any questions for them. And once again, join us next week. Kuya Ed, do you want to announce what's happening next week? It's like the biggest and greatest thing we've ever done.
Next week is meaning we are getting close to Christmas, right? Yeah. So we have
yes.
Christmas special presentation. Just stick to our comments on SoCal Pinoys. I think it's already been posted there. So
yes.
We have artists, singers. Hey, Justin, we need you there, man. You gotta sing. While we play music, you can do some, head spinning, creature, players.
The helicopter.
Helicopter.
Iba yung iniisip mo.
I heard my band actually,
yeah.
So but not me.
Yeah. So next week for everybody, we have our podcast Christmas special, and we have, oh my gosh, we have a lot of really good artists and performers, singers, vocalists, and musicians in our show. We have 10 of them, and Justin's right. Joe Calixto of Apperson is going to be in our Christmas special, and we'll see next week if Justin's actually gonna play with him or not.
No? Ready mo na yung mga pyesa mo, ha? Puro mga artist yan.
I'm gonna be cooking for sure. Like,
Yeah, we'll have a cookout store. Yeah, and so everybody, don't forget next week we have our Christmas special. That's December 17th, starting at 8 o'clock. We have Annie Nepomuceno, who's a longtime vocal coach and singer. She's also the president of the Filipino-American Chamber of Commerce. We have Kenneth, Laurente, we have Garth Garcia, we have Chris Ivan, we have Holly Santiago, Michelle Hunter, who are musical theater performers. And since, they don't have any musicals at the moment, they're singing and teaching kids voice lessons. And yeah, we have so many more performers who are on the lineup. And you'll see that I posted it in the calendar event listing. So once again, everybody, thank you so much for being on our show, and to our viewers who stuck with us. Thank you for watching.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas,
Thank you.
everyone.
Merry
SoCal,
Christmas.
support our restaurants.
Yes.
Maraming tuguyan.
Yes,
Thank
let's
you.
support our local restaurants.
Yep.
And I'll post their locations in the comment section also, so that everybody can see them. Bye.
Bye.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.